So it's weird.
I know the exact amount of minutes.
We had to go to Iowa City and she was back I know, but I don't know.
Right at 6:30. Yeah. Let's do a quick roll call.
Marcus Bush.
Derek Workman.
Amy Reiser.
Jared Johnson.
Mandy Hartford.
Ryan Wolford.
Missy Gazarovski.
Andy Allen.
Bill Clark.
Zach Wallace.
Curtis Fisher Sugar.
Kenzie Cook.
Leah Duca.
Barb Hills Ellis.
Bert Ellis.
Eric Cook.
Amy Robinson.
Wendy Buckrock.
Sarah Casey.
Aubrey Chisholm.
Rebecca Danner. Kimberly Beckman.
Hank Beckman.
Allison Beckman.
John Latoll.
Danny.
Oh, I'm sorry. James Ard. Brock Raymond.
Happy Grace. Senate. Taylor Swift. Mayor Baker.
Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's roll right in with good news.
Mrs. Casey's coming up.
I'm up.
Our sixth grade student month recognition.
I am pleased to announce that Aubrey Chisholm is our sixth grade student of the month. She is the granddaughter of Carlton and Kimberly Beckman, and her mom Ashley is also here. She has two siblings, Carson Beckman, who's in second grade, and Destiny Morrison, who's in kindergarten. They also attend Rockridge. Outside of school, Aubrey enjoys a variety of activities, including soccer and art. While at school, she participates in the art club. Her favorite school subjects are social studies and math. Her favorite book is The One and Only Bob. Her favorite food is walking tacos from the school cafeteria. Her favorite memory thus far this school year has been art club after school. In her free time, she enjoys coloring and playing on Canva. She really looks up to her grandparents her grandpa, because he is really kind and helpful. In the future, Aubrey would like to pursue a career in zoology. One thing Aubrey would want people to know about her is that she likes koala bears. Mrs. Reese, her science teacher, says, Aubrey strives to always do her best on her schoolwork. She is eager to participate in class discussions and is polite and kind to others. Mrs. Wright, her English teacher, says Aubrey is always engaged during learning time. She produces thoughtful and high-quality work. She is responsible and kind to others. I'm her social studies teacher, and she is always willing to help and is responsible in class. She does well and goes above and beyond in her schoolwork. Mrs. Schweigen says Aubrey is a wonderful student who constantly participates and engages in her MTSS lessons, and she carries a positive work ethic into PE classes where she always strives to do her best. So, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
right, the high school student of the month is Leah Cook. Here. Congratulations. Would you want to-
Yeah, I brought my mom and dad, Kim and Eric, to cook, and then my grandma and papa, Barb and Bert.
Nice, and then that's for you. So Leah was nominated by multiple teachers, multiple months in a row. So I couldn't wait to be able to finally give her this award. So we're really happy that she won, and so is pretty much everyone else, I think. Leah has demonstrated 4 years of commitment across both athletics and student government. She has been heavily involved in volleyball, basketball, and track during her freshman through senior year, and is a 4-year member of the Student Council, where she currently serves as vice president. She also holds a leadership position in the plant club. Leah recently broke a school record in volleyball for having 100% serving percentage. That's crazy. She has attended the state track meet as a freshman for the 4x4 relay and is a junior for the 4x4 relay, 4x2 relay, and high jump. She was the captain of the volleyball team and is now the captain of the basketball team. She enjoys the staff and her fellow classmates that she has gotten to know during her time here at Rockridge. Following graduation, Leah plans to attend Augustana College to begin her studies in elementary education. Here are some notes from our staff about Leah. Leah is active in student council as vice president, leader of plant club, volleyball starter, basketball captain, 3-year starter, high honor roll, and active in Spanish club. That's from Mr. Stroud. Leah is an incredibly hardworking student. In her dual credit class, Leah is often the leader and someone whose students go to for help. Along with being involved in a great student, Leah truly embodied being a rocket, as she is supportive of athletics and students at the high school. She is an exemplary student all around. She continues to show up every day with a positive attitude and willingness to learn. Leah is a great role model for her peers, as she is involved in sports, clubs, and is high achieving with her academics. Leah is incredibly deserving to be Student of the Month. That's from Ms. Hatchell. Leah is a spark of positive energy here at school. She is happy and outgoing and participates in class. She represents Rockridge with pride in athletics, clubs, and the student section. She is a great role model for the younger kids. That's from Ms. Tricia Graves. Leah is an excellent student. She's a great addition to the volleyball team. She did good work in Spanish 3 first hour last year. Always got her homework done, and she always remembers my birthday. Do you know who this is?
Mr.
Yes. She's very good with movie recommendations, too. Leah DeCook is a dedicated, intelligent, compassionate artist and student. Leah is in my intro art class, and she is always on top of her projects, making sure they are exquisite. Every week during football season, they have made these amazing works of art for the student section and installed them at every home game. Last week, she completed all of her work and helped make playoff signs for the football game. Leah is a kind and lovable soul who will make a difference in this world one day. And that's from Mrs. Stensberger. I am not surprised that Leah DeCook is our Student of the Month. She brings incredible energy and leadership to everything she does. As Vice President of Student Council, she is organized, reliable, and always ready to help out. Leah is the kind of leader people want to follow. Funny, positive, and super friendly. She makes everyone feel welcome and is truly a joy to be around. We are lucky to have her. That's from Mrs. Reed. Last one. Leah is an exceptionally hardworking student who consistently goes above and beyond in everything she does. She's involved in many different school activities, bringing energy, leadership, and positivity wherever she goes. Known as a true social butterfly, Leah connects easily with everyone around her and helps create a welcoming, friendly atmosphere. Her dedication, involvement, and upbeat spirit make her a wonderful role model and an invaluable part of our school community. And that's from Mr. Smith. Congratulations, Leah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move number 3 to the next month. School Board Members Day.
Congratulations, IASB recognizes November 15th as School Board Appreciation Day, so thank you for all that you do. All the free and volunteer time that you put in, all the decisions you make, continue to make Rockridge a great place to be at. In lieu of any compensation, you have a fantastic certificate that I expect you all to put above your mantles as soon as you get home. So thank you very much. As you see, the buildings have done some stuff. They can kind of talk about what they got for you and go from there if they'd like to.
Well, Andalusia did a Lego theme. So all of our students decorated a Lego. You each have your own minifig that you get to take home. It's taped up there, but we can pull it off whenever and you can take it home. But that's all from Andalusia. And on the back, it'll say who colored your minifig. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. Thank you for.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right. Good.
All right, girls golf.
That's great.
All right, the girls golfers weren't able to come, but we wanted to make sure we recognized them. We had 3 girls, Isabel Carroll, Amaya Arnett, and Olivia Ontiveros, who got first team all conference. Amaya also had a hole-in-one this year on a par 3 out of Byron Hills, so that was pretty cool to see. My only other hole-in-one was a girl, and she hit a driver off of a par 3, and the news was there. They're like, how did you do? What did you hit? And she's like, I used a driver. And they're like, oh, on 125 yards. Okay, all right. But this was a true hole-in-one, so it was super cool to see. Either way, it's a hole-in-one, it's a hole-in-one. But so congratulations to her. And then Isabel Carroll qualified for state. She finished 73rd at state. So we wanted to make sure we said congratulations to her as well.
We also had some boys golfers, or boys golfer, I should say. Carter Scherzel finished first team all conference and also qualified for state, where he tied for 69th place. He was doing really well after day one and had a rough day too, but I think he was in the top 20 after the first day, and then a little bit different conditions that day, second day. We also had cross country. Colton Reed was also first team all conference, and he also qualified for the IHSA sectional meet. I think he pulled a hamstring in sectional, so didn't quite do as well as he wanted there, but it was good for Colton, who made a lot of strides since last year. So congrats to all of them.
Okay, Mr. Earl.
Number 8 is this is ILMEA. So the students auditioned. It's an online audition, video audition that they made. And the students selected were in the 5 different ensembles that were offered for ILMEA District 2. It was this past Saturday at Augustana College. It was a great day of music making. Number 9 is the track Honor Band and Choir Festival. That's nomination based. 12 schools in our conference all combined to make an honor choir and band, and we do that in Kewanee every year since that's the most central location for our gigantic conference. That was also a very fun day. And then number 10 is the American Choral Directors Association Midwest Regional Choirs. They alternate. They do regional every other year and national every other year. So last year I got to take Rory to Dallas for the national. This year I'm taking 4 students to the Midwest, which is going to be in Milwaukee. They offer 4 choirs, and we got 1 student in each of the 4 choirs this year. So we're excited about that as well.
And for the NFHS Outstanding Music Educator Award goes to Mr.
Sarah's going to talk.
Oh, Sarah's going to talk. Well, okay. Surprise.
Come on up here. That says Bobby.
That's a whole different mess.
I even had that in order. Okay, there you go. Okay, this award goes to Curtis Fisher Oschlager for the Illinois Athletic. Okay, that's still wrong. I promise this isn't a joke. Here we go. Okay, the National Federation of High Schools presented Mr. Fisher Oschlager with the Outstanding Music Educator for the 2025-2026 school year. 1 nominee per state is accepted for this award, and the nominee must be endorsed by the State Association office. Criteria for the evaluation include organization and continuance of an activity program, significant and ongoing contributions to the field, years of both curricular and co-curricular service, contributions to the professional both in and out of state. This award is coming from the IESA, and Curtis will be the first Illinois junior high recipient. Curtis also received this award previously in 2019 as the IHSA Illinois State Outstanding Music Educator for High School. Congratulations.
Thank you. Later, usually January.
Let's take your picture. No, it's fine.
Big congratulations to Mr. Owen. I mean, our music department is awesome, really amazing. The amount of kids he gets to participate in everything that he is awesome. So we really appreciate Mr. Owen and everything he does for our kids and opportunities he gives them. So well deserved, sir. Next is the Rock Island County ROE Employees of the Month. Here at the high schools, Miss Lori Bausch, Amanda Baker in Deluge Elementary, Darcy Norris at Taylor Ridge, and Mrs. Buckcroft, who's here tonight. From Illinois City. Next one. Ms. Baker, am I talking about this one? I don't want to jump the gun again.
I can do it. The WRNJ news and radio station had their very first Employee of the Month recognition this month for November. And they had over 40 nominations across the whole area. And one of our English teachers had over 8 nominations to the point that WRNG had to call and make sure that they were legitimate nominations. And obviously they were, but she was so far and ahead and above of the crowd that they said it was just an easy pick for them. So that award goes to Shelby Hatchell. She's our high school English teacher. So she couldn't make it tonight, but congratulations to Shelby.
Yep.
Come on up here, Brock. Okay, again, I made this, but they do present a real award that's really, actually, really nice and fancy. He just gets it in. Go ahead. There we go. All right, the Illinois Athletic Directors Association, IADA, announced the recipients of this year's division awards. Brock Bainter has been selected by Division 4 as new Athletic Director of the Year. Each honoree has demonstrated outstanding leadership, professionalism, and dedication to student athletes, coaches, and school communities across Illinois. Their efforts exemplify the mission of IADA and the positive impact of strong athletic administration. All division award winners will be recognized and presented with a plaque, not this, at the IADA State Conference Awards Dinner on Sunday, March 15th, 2026 in Peoria. Division winners are also eligible for selection as an overall IADA Athletic Director of the Year, and that's for Divisions 1A and 2A and then 3A and 4A. Assistant Athletic Director of the Year or new Athletic Director of the Year. Congratulations to Brock Boehner for this well-deserved recognition for new Athletic Director of the Year for Division 4.
Smile.
Bus evacuations.
I think I might have put that on there, just thanking all the bus drivers that come out and talk to all of our students, and to Jesse Housley for organizing all of that, because it's a lot to take on, so we just wanted to thank the transportation department for that. And then I also have my character show on Rocket, so in October, I'm sorry I couldn't be here, my son was sick, but in October, our students that were picked for the Fist Bump Friday were students that have been working really hard on their iReady lessons, so I wanted to recognize them. In 3rd grade, we have Amelia Jackson, Cameron Kelly, Cole McIntyre, and Brady Eller. In 4th grade, we have Violet Vandevelde, Lawson Mosley, Carlin Steth, and McKenna Baker. In Addison Versluz. In 5th grade, we have Ruby Ford, Quinn Colander, and then a 3rd grader, we have Matthews Jett and Josh Gurlis in 4th grade as well. This month, they'll be doing it next Friday. And these were students that demonstrated responsibility, which is our Character Strong of the month for October. It's our theme. And those students are Faith Straight, Grace Dorothy, Carson Furlong, Abby DeGroot, Elin Johnson, Warren Erickson, Vinnie Zampogna, Barrett Gibson, Pierce Cook, Carter Johnson, and Calvin Carroll. So congratulate all those students, and they'll be our next Friday.
Yep, Veterans Day, big celebration tomorrow, breakfast at 8 o'clock here in the high school, junior high cafeteria, then 9 o'clock will be the presentation portion of it. Mr. Ellis told me tonight they have about 70 veterans and about 140 individuals coming tomorrow for that, so we're excited. Thanks to staff, including Mr. Ellis, that gets that put on. This is what's going out, you can take a look if you'd like to. But yeah, we're excited for that tomorrow.
Great.
Yep.
That's a lot of good news. Congratulations, everybody. At this time, if you are here for just good news and you want to go, you're free to go, or you can stay.
Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, this time I'll open it up to public comments if there's any. Okay, seeing none. Move on to the consent agenda. Everybody get a chance to look at the consent agenda. Any questions?
On the last two items, I think it had misspelled Ryan McDonald instead of Ryan Wilford. The last, these two bottom two.
Oh, in the minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, that's right.
Just cruising, yeah, I was like, McDonald voted on it.
That's an odd vote.
I'm just determined to call that somebody else.
Okay, everybody good with it? All in favor? All opposed? Okay. Presentations, tentative tax levy. Oh, can I get a motion?
Okay.
All in favor? There we go. Sorry, Don.
No, you're fine.
Just put Ryan McDonald back.
Okay. All right, so there's some terms you're going to hear us throw out, so we're going to review what some of those terms mean real quick, and then we'll get into how we build the tax levy and what our suggestions are for you guys. So you're going to hear us say EAV a lot. That stands for Equalized Assessed Value, and that's just the total property value within the school district. And then the rate setting EAV is what is that taxable property. So the total EAV less those tax protected areas, those tip increment areas. And that's that rate setting EAV is what we'll use for our calculations. Maximum rate is the total allowable rate. So you'll see us talk about some other amounts, but the maximum rate is what we are allowed to receive up to that point. So the proposed rate is the calculated rate based on the amounts that we levy. So we don't levy for a specific rate, we levy for amounts. So based on those amounts, what that calculation comes to is the proposed rate. The actual rate is what we will receive once those final EAV amounts come in based on what the levy is. So, and then you'll hear us talk about some as needed levy amounts. Those are in our Social Security, our IMRF, and our tort areas. So those are areas that are not based on a maximum rate. We are allowed to levy up into what those anticipated expenses are. So in looking at how we developed the levy, first we determined that estimated change in the rate setting EAV. So the counties provide us an estimate, and then we look at
the variance between their estimates and their actuals over the last 5 years to determine where we think that final EAV is going to land. So this is the part where it's a bit of a game. If we don't levy high enough and estimate high enough, then we're going to leave some money on the table. Remember that we will only get that maximum allowable rate no matter how high we ask for. If we don't estimate high, or if we estimate too high, we're still only getting that maximum rate. So the biggest risk is not estimating high enough. If you estimate too low, we're going to leave money on the table. If you estimate way too high, doesn't matter, we're only getting that maximum rate. So then we apply the maximum rate to the estimated EAV, and then we determine, the final step is determining those anticipated expenses in this as needed funds, which again are the Social Security, IMRF, and TOR. So then on the next slide, you want to go back one. This is a visual representation of what we just explained. So they give us, each county gives us what they think those property values are going to be. And then the final actual EAV tends to be a bit different. So if we don't go high enough, we're leaving money. If we go too high, we're still getting the full amount that we're allowed to, but not that overage. That overage is gone. So it's a law that if the amounts that we levy for are over 5% or 5% or higher than last year's actual extension rate, that we have to file this truth and taxation. So it's a big black box in the paper. We've had to do this for the last 5 to 7 years because EAV rates are well above that 5%. So it's become pretty typical. If the EAV values ever drop lower than that 5%, then we have some more decision making on how high we want to go if we want to try to avoid that truth in taxation. But if we want to capture at least the amount that the EAVs have gone up, we have to do this. So this is an example of how the property values have increased over the years, but our tax rate has actually gone down. You can see that those values have gone up. 5 years ago, they were more in the 4% range. In the last few years, they've been pretty high in the 8 to 9 range. And as values have gone up, our tax rate has gone down. And then you can see that visually shown on the next slide. So now we're going to talk about each individual county. You can see that on this slide, we're showing you that difference in the estimated versus the actual EAV. So this is really important for us to determine what number we want to use for our levy amounts, how high we want to estimate that final rate setting EAV is where it's going to come at. So Rock Island County is their final actual property values are pretty close to where they estimate. You can see that the highest that they've been off is 0.38%. So pretty accurate. Their estimated values are pretty close to where they land at the end of the year. Unfortunately, Mercer County is not so accurate. You can see up to last year, 2.65 was the highest, but as of last year, they're almost 5% off. So unfortunately, if we want to capture all of that final rate setting taxable value, we need to consider that variation from their estimate when we're building our calculations. So based upon that, we want to take the highest rate setting, our highest estimated increase, which was 8.27%. Mercer counties was slightly higher than Rock Island counties. And then we want to consider that highest variant, which was the 4.29%, which lands us at 12.5% if we want to be safe. We want to consider a 12.5% estimated increase. Likely that's not going to be where it lands, but if we ask for that much, we're only going to get the maximum allowable rate. We're not going to get above that. So looking at the next two slides, we're going to show you two options. So this is if we go at the 12.5% estimated increase. If you look at that bottom box on the right where the arrow is 22, you can see that our tax rate will still drop. And then if you go to the next slide, you can also see with this option, our tax rate drops. So either way, we're not getting any more than we're allowed to get, and in both scenarios, our tax rate still drops. With the 8.5%, it's possible, I think we would be safe in Rock Island County to capture all that we're able to, but in Mercer County, we may leave some money on the table. We're already leaving money on the table there with airport tax handling, so I don't want to leave any more money there than we have to. So moving on, this shows you where those proposed rates versus our certified to collect rates weigh. Our certified to collect is based off that final actual property value for the district. You see that in every scenario, that certified to collect is lower than the proposed amount. And then moving on to the next slide, this shows you the 2024 levy, what was proposed versus what was certified to receive. So again, just another representation that we only get that maximum rate regardless of what we levy for. And then lastly, or I can't put this in end here. This is just a table that shows you where we stand versus our surrounding areas. You can see that the only district lower than us is Sherrard. So we're doing well compared to our neighboring districts and very well compared to our in-town districts. So moving on to our conclusion of what we're going to suggest for you guys, our total estimated rate setting EAB for 2025 is the $321 million, which is about a 7.81% total rate setting increase. 7.8% is Rock Island County's increase, and Mercer County is estimated 8.27% increase. So as we mentioned, Rock Island County's only been about 0.38% off from their estimate. For Mercer County is, just shy of 5%. And so if we're wanting to capture all of those funds, we're suggesting that we go ahead with a 12.5% increase in EAB to determine those levy amounts, which will require the truth in taxation publication in the newspaper. And on the district website.
Every AV set by the state, not by the county, not by the district. That just looks at comparable homes, and it's super cool to sell your house, but it's going to work around that. No. With the AV increase, that's all state stuff.
Are you putting all this on our website so everybody can see?
Okay.
I don't know that we put the presentation, but we can.
I put some of those numbers so that people know that.
I think you broke it down really clearly.
Yeah, the tax rate's going down.
Yes.
All I hear is you're raising our taxes because you're building a new school. Well, we're not.
Yep. No, yeah,
So,
we can definitely.
I would put some of those, whether it's the bar graph or whatever, but, and maybe even the one with, comparable districts.
Yeah.
I think people should see that if they want to.
Okay. Any questions?
She's good in putting out the 12.5.
Yep.
Asking for it, so we may not get it, but if you don't ask, you're not gonna get it.
That's right.
So, good with that?
All right, Mr. O, you taking the Hawaii trip?
I'm not.
Well, I'm presenting.
I am not getting to go, but I am going to present. That is a busy concert weekend for me, so I will not be able to take a trip. You should have materials in your packet from Jake about possible trip to Hawaii next December for their Pearl Harbor recognition parade events. This is because Western Illinois University is taking their band, and they reached out to any of their local alumni band directors and said, if you would like to bring 1 student or 50 students to join in along with us and be part of the Western band in Pearl Harbor, we welcome you to come. So he floated the idea to the kids, and he has 20 to 25 students / parents, chaperones that are interested in attending the trip. It is all handled through Bob Rogers Travel. So all details, all plans, all tickets, everything have been taken care of already through Bob Rogers. Payments also go directly to Bob Rogers, so there's no money going through the school at all, which we really love that part. And they will be locking in their plane rates in December, because they can do that 1 year out. So that's why we put on this meeting, because he's going to need to have them say whether or not they want to go by the December deadline. They said the top price is $3,000, and it's just dependent on the plane flight as to whether it can come down below that. That is the maximum rate that they'll charge for the trip. Any questions on that? They have the full itinerary. I think that should be listed in what he gave you guys. Chaperones are welcome to go. I think Katie Hassan had mentioned that she's thinking about that might be a fun way to get to Hawaii.
Anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Attendance data.
That's me. Hi, guys. I'm gonna sit next to you. I have some papers for you that I'll hand to you here in a bit, but once we get to that point. So I first want to recognize the attendance committee. You want to go to the next? Yep. So these are all the people that's helped and has been on the attendance committee. I presented last year. We kind of did a shift towards things, but it's still similar data that you guys will see if you were here last year. If not, it'll be something that I find very interesting. So we can move on. I first want to educate you on what the wording is. We're going to focus on chronic absenteeism. But I wanted to tell you the difference between them. So the chronic absenteeism, which is what we're going to focus on, is with or without a valid excuse, equaling 10% of the school days. And then chronic truant is only the without a valid excuse, which is the 5%. So we're going to focus on the absenteeism. Okay. This is our school report card. Now keep in mind that they're behind. It's 2024. They don't have 2025 data up yet. But this is our years from 2018 all the way to 2024. And 2024, we had 10% students. So 18 days or more, there's 29% of our students at. So 93 total students of our 322 in the high school missed 18 or more school days. Whether it was for excused reasons or not, they missed at least 18 days. Could have been more. So obviously that's not a trend we want to see, and that's something that we wanted to focus on. So moving forward, we'll show you how we're going to do that. So first, our attendance goal for the high school would be to decrease the overall rate of chronic absenteeism by 2% or more each year, beginning with this year. This would equal out to be about 10 students per year. Okay. It's so good. I love it. I love it. How are we going to reach this goal? So we've sent out emails to students, to families, to educate them that we're going to do quarterly incentives. Each quarter, all high school students who have the perfect attendance per quarter will have the chance to participate in these at lunchtime. So again, it resets at quarter, so it's not something that you get the first quarter and then you miss a day and you can't have it. So we really like that they have the opportunity to recycle back after each quarter. Mental health days, and then like if they're missing for a sporting event, school excuses, those do not count towards this. Other than that, we want them in school. So we also are doing a 30-day challenge. So each class will participate on its own challenge. I have those sheets for you guys, so that way you guys can look at them in front of you as well. We've done and completed the freshman challenge, and we are currently focused on the senior class. So I would like you guys to have each sheet, and then we'll go over what we can put them up to.
You got the seniors first or freshmen?
Freshman first, okay. The freshman, like I said, has already been completed, so then you guys can see that. And keep in mind when you're looking at these, this is the actual class of that year. So the freshman class of 22.
Oh, I got
Would you like them? Anybody else? Okay, so keep in mind that this is the class of 2029. So the freshmen, we pulled the numbers when they were 8th graders last year. So this is their data that's traveling with them. So what does this show? If you'll go down to the graphs. Thank you. So this shows that this year, given the 30-day challenge that we put out, the teachers all were assigned anywhere from 6 to 7 students. They contacted those students. They encouraged the students. We put signs on lockers for students that had perfect attendance or had missed less than 2 days. We gave suckers out once we were 3/4 of the way done. And then at the end, they were given, if they had perfect attendance, they were given a pizza party at lunch. And if they had missed less than 2 days, they were given a popsicle. If you had perfect attendance, you got both. So given all that information, we've seen some big increases in our students within those 30 days. So this is the exact 30 days from last year to this year. As you can see, that perfect attendance improved from 26 to 35%, which is a 9% increase. So 7 more students achieved perfect attendance this year during that month. And then approximately 22 students in total showed improvement. 7 achieved perfect and 15 moved up from missing 2 days or less. So that means 1/4 of our students within these 30 days of our freshman class have shown improvements. We thought it was important to start with the freshman class because once we start that trend, we thought let's get after the freshman class first. Then let's move to the senior class because we heard, how come the freshmen get it first? Why are the seniors going first? Why do they get everything? So we went to our senior class, which we are currently in. We're 19 days in. And these are our senior numbers. So you can see a big increase here too. Perfect attendance has changed big time, 13% of students were in perfect attendance last year. And now that's a 25% increase. Or sorry, 25% of perfect attendance. So 1/4 of our students are perfect attendance for these 30 days. And then 87% have missed less than 2 days as of right now, compared to last year's 45%. So the senior class is really rocking it, and they're hanging in there for us, and they're looking forward to some celebrations at lunch. Then, so there's those numbers. And then we also have dates set that we've already put out to our sophomores, which are coming up next. And then our juniors were really targeted in March because that's the testing window for the ACT. So we wanted to really make sure that we were focused on them during that time and they were here and active. So those are the things we're doing, and I feel like given those numbers, they're definitely working, and students are getting to school, and that's the message we put out over and over and over again. Hopefully you guys have seen those. Attendance matters, and just educating our community on why we need students here. Any questions for me?
It's great.
Thank you.
Does this correlate to like grades too, when you see an improvement in
I
kids
have
that are here more often? I mean, they should be getting better grades if they're here more often.
Sure, yeah, I haven't looked into that data, but that's definitely something we can add into it hopefully in the long run once we get all of our numbers. That'd be a great thing to look into.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Elementary goals.
Yeah, so I just wanted to update you guys a little bit about curriculum. So today I'm going to talk about, I have 3 goals at the elementary level, but then I also wanted to give you some updates of
what's happening at elementary, junior high, and high school in regards to curriculum. So my first goal is over professional development. So the district is in year 2 of our letters training for all certified K through 5 staff. This training is composed of best practices in teaching reading and spelling. So the goal that I have is 80% of our teachers will score 80% or higher on the Volume 1 post-test. We will be completed with letters training in May, and so they will have a post-test to take at that time. So how are we going to get there? Currently, our teachers are participating in 12 hours of live letters training this year. I facilitate that training for our teachers. So we have done that 2 ways. We've done it through grade level collaboration meetings during the school day, and then we also are doing them through sit days. So we have a sit day on Friday. That will be one of our live letters trainings that they're going to participate in. Our teachers also have to do 16 online modules that relates to this work. They do that during the school day or whenever they have time, but I just do want to give a big thanks to them because it is a big time commitment that they do outside of those days. The focus this year is going to be on basic and advanced phonics, so those are the topics that we are covering this year. The teachers also have to do one more thing, so they do the modules, we do the live trainings, and then they also have activities that they do that bring that learning into the classroom. So it's kind of bridging the best practices of reading instruction and putting it into the classroom to kind of bridge that gap. The second goal that I have is centered around an assessment that we have called M-Class. So our other elementary administrators talked a lot about map data and iReady data. We have a third assessment that is called M-Class, which is early literacy skills. And this is the assessment that we use a lot to track progress and to really look at our reading data. So the chart at the top is our phonemic awareness data from last year. Phonemic awareness is the first skills that we teach our students when they learn to read. It's all about the sounds in words. When I think about reading, phonemic awareness, if you think about a house, phonemic awareness is going to be your foundation. So it's very important that we have a solid foundation when we are building our house. So when you look at our data from last year, our students in the green and blue were scored pretty high. We had 70% of our students at benchmark in the beginning of the year, 69 in the middle of the year, and 71 at the end of the year. However, I chose this because we didn't see a lot of growth throughout the year. So we did score pretty high, but we didn't move more kids to benchmark of where we wanted them to be. Additionally, phonemic awareness was the focus of our letters training the second half of the year last year. So our teachers really dug into how to teach this to our students. So I also wanted to pick this as a goal to see how our professional development is then showing up into our student data. So the goal is by the end of our school year, I would like us to move from that bottom chart is this year, beginning of the year, 57% proficient to 80% proficient. So the way that we are going to get there is currently all of our kindergarten and first grade classrooms are doing a class-wide phonemic awareness intervention. It's called Haggerty. So they just take 10 minutes out of their day and they focus strictly on phonemic awareness using this program. This is outside of their core instruction. It's just an additional layer that we are adding on to help meet this goal. My third goal that I have is so that's kindergarten and first grade. I have a goal for second through fifth grade, and it is oral reading fluency. So this is how many words you read correct in 1 minute. I picked this goal for 2 reasons. Number one, research tells us that your oral reading fluency is the biggest predictor of later reading success. And so when we give this M-Class assessment, the fluency measure is weighted the heaviest. So really whatever you score in fluency is probably what your overall composite score is going to be. So last year, the chart at the top, we did make 11% growth in second through fifth grade. However, when we have our data days and we look over all of our data and all of our tests and subtests, oral reading fluency is always our lowest achieving measure. So we always look at it and we always have the least amount of kids meeting benchmark. So that is why I chose this one. So currently at the beginning of the year, we had 51% of our students that were at benchmark in 2nd through 5th grade. So my goal is to get 80. I do think 80% is a lofty goal for oral reading fluency just because kids read at different rates. And this program is saying in order to be at benchmark, you have to read this many words per minute, but not all kids are there yet and they can still comprehend. So I do think 80% is lofty, but that's the goal that we're going to shoot for. And so how we're going to get there, same thing, all 2nd through 5th grade students are doing a class-wide fluency intervention. They do repeated readings of a passage for 10 minutes per day, and that is also outside of their CKLA or their iReady instruction. So we'll continue to monitor that data through middle of year, end of the year, and hopefully with that extra 10 minutes of fluency practice, we can meet that goal. So then just some updates. So at the elementary level, I do have an elementary curriculum team. Those members are listed up on the slide. So a couple of things, we meet once a month. A couple of things that we have done so far, we've revised the K2 report card because we needed it to reflect our new math curriculum. It still reflected my math curriculum. And we also made some changes to the ELA. Now that we've had CKLA for a year, we were able to align our report card more with what our instruction is. We've also discussed some current elementary topics and some next steps on how to tackle those. And then our next meeting, we are going to conduct a needs assessment of our whole literacy system. So we're going to look at our core instruction, we're going to look at professional development, we're going to look at assessment, we're going to look at interventions, and just to identify some strengths and then areas that we may need to improve. So the goal of the elementary curriculum team is just by the end of the year, identify what those strengths and those areas of growth are so we can set goals for improvement for the next year. At the junior high level, our junior high qualified for Title I funds this year, so they were able to receive some supply monies. And so we purchased 2 interventions for our junior high. We purchased a short-term literacy intervention and a long-term literacy intervention. And so I've been working with Mrs. Schwagen, and she has got the materials. She's been using them since September. So really the goal is just to see how those materials are working, and just help support their MTSS system in the junior high. I'm hopeful when Mrs. Corlett comes back to just collaborate more with her on their core curriculums and see what their needs are. We just haven't been able to connect there yet. And then at the high school, I also have a high school curriculum team. Those members are listed up on the slide. And I meet with our high school curriculum team on SIP days, so I was able to meet with them in September and October. And we really just sat down and identified areas of need. High school is not my expertise, so I just really sat down with them and asked them, to just talk to me and tell me where you think we need to improve, where we think there are strengths. And so on Friday is our next SIP day. Our high school curriculum team is going to present to the high school staff, talk about what we have been doing so far. We kind of prioritize what needs to come first, next, and then they're going to present that to the staff. So I currently don't have a goal for high school quite yet. Hopefully within the next couple of months, once we work through this process, we can have a goal of where we would like to end this school year. Do you guys have any questions for me?
As a mom of a first grader, the whole Hagerty thing makes so much more sense now. It comes out, talking about. Like, they love it.
All the sounds and hand motions.
Yeah. It's like, I'm a Hagerty kid of the week or whatever. I'm like, no. I got told I was stuffy animal or something. But this is yes. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you. Daphne, are you going to come back at the end of the year and give us an update on the other 2 classes?
Absolutely.
Okay. Financials?
On the financial report, where our fund balances are shown, some areas you guys might be interested in as we move into some other discussions tonight, looking at our working cash fund balance today. There you'll see that our transportation fund balance might be, it's pretty healthy. We haven't been using those reserves for any bus purchases yet this year. And we have what's budgeted for this year, we're not putting into those unreserved balances, so that might be of some interest later. And then also wanted to mention that in Fund 60, we have enough cash in the bank to float this month's expenses, so we won't be needing to do a transfer this month. So what's in there will remain so far. So. And then looking at the revenue and expenditure report, so we've mentioned this is the first month where you'll see that our revenues are dropping a bit. So our revenues are pretty heavy the first 3 months with property tax revenues, but then they start to slow a little bit. So still decent, but you can see that our expenditures are starting to get higher, revenues are a little bit lower. But then in looking at the cash flow report, you'll see we're still looking great in our ed fund. Our revenue is coming in a little bit sooner than expected, but our expenditures are spot on. So overall, we're looking really good. It's still a little up from where we budgeted at the beginning of the year. O&M looks really good. As we mentioned last month, we received those insurance proceeds in that account. So that's making the revenue a little bit higher, but our expenditures are also low because we have those improvements budgeted, but we have no plans to use that right now. So those are, with all the other projects that are going on, the hope is that those are for things of need versus want that may come up through the year. And then looking at our transportation report, we're pretty close to what we budgeted, both revenue and expenditure. So that's about as close as we've been in terms of this projection report this year in the last few years. So we're doing good in transportation. So something to note in our interest accounts, rates are starting to drop a little bit. So you'll see that at Blackhawk Bank and Trust that went down 0.2%, and we're also seeing that in our PMA. So we're getting closer to the 4.2% there, and we're more about right at 4% for the liquid account. But then moving over to that investment report, you'll see that we still have those investments that mature in November listed, but we have reinvested that first one listed that matured on the 4th at a rate of 3.7%. So they're not dropping as drastically as they were predicting at one point, but they are slowly dropping. We're still making a significant amount more than we were the first 5 years I was here, so I'm not too concerned. I think we can plan for that as they continue to drop, but I think we're going to get the most out of the funds that we have over the duration of this project. So, and then lastly, on the food service report, you can see that we're actually doing pretty good so far. We are about a quarter through the school year and still at a positive balance. So right now, things are looking great. Those lunch and breakfast deposits are up from the previous month, so they're doing something right in the kitchen to be getting the kids to have their parents fill their accounts. So. More than just the basics. So yeah, so I also think those credit card, the ease of filling those balances is probably helping these funds a little bit. So for anyone who has the automatic, top up, that's probably helpful too to keep us from those negative balances. So that's also a perk.
So thanks for emails from Marcus Dash.
It comes, yeah, it's very personal.
Top priority every day.
Almost.
Please take Marcus.
Oh, one day.
Any questions on financials? Okay. Let's move on to discussion items.
Full recruits, we had one this month, Steve Watts from Texas. Our teachers, what they do, their email address, where they work, and their salary. All good stuff, so it is what it is, and send that information out, but that's all. No Mr. Wayne this month, so it's exciting. Appreciate him taking a month off. Next one's official summative designation. Those were released last week. All our buildings are commendable, except for Illinois City didn't have one of their thresholds met. I haven't had a chance to dig into which threshold wasn't met, but we'll take a look at that. It's not uncommon for smaller 10 buildings, but all of them are commendable, so it's exciting to see. But obviously there's room for growth still, so we're excited to see what we can do moving forward. All right, next one. Building grounds. I've invited UVD and Lodge Construction here tonight, so not sure which one you'd like to talk about first, but we have a few different options to discuss here, so.
There you go, BLDD.
Let's go to BLDD.
All right, BLDD's up first, so, we've been discussing currently, the estimated budget that we had for our elementary building came in under budget by $3.5 million. I know that there was also lots of discussions by the board as far as other things that they'd like to see done, so I tasked Zach Tequila to see what they can come up with and work with the team as well on the budget pieces of it. So at this time, I'm gonna allow them to kind of go over some of the ideas, suggestions, the different phases that we can potentially look at, so.
Okay, all right. I believe you guys have printouts. There should be, yes, the colorful one. So on that first page is an overview of most of your junior and senior high building. Some southern end of it is cut off where the elementary building's gonna add on to it. Just looking at some of the colors, the outlines, the green outline, purple and red is me figuring out what is the high school classrooms in green, what is the junior high in red, and then what is combined and shared. So some of these extra projects beyond the core needs, which is secure entries and fixing some athletic issues, was asking what are some easy moves we can do to help start separate that high school to the far north, junior high in between elementary and the high school once elementary's up, and then getting some efficiencies of what should be shared between the two groups for the size of the building that you are. So first off, we will talk about the main issues or updates that we want to do to the existing building, which is the secure entries. So we've been talking about this since community engagement. This was kind of a, we gave options at the very last section that we had of, if we're able to do more than just the elementary, what do we do to the junior, senior high? Kind of a non-negotiable was make sure we have secure entries at all of the offices. So our typical goal for a secure entry in the way we lay it out is there is a locked vestibule that a person can come into. They can, from there, sometimes talk to somebody over a counter that has a coiling door above them that they can shut down on people, like what Roz from Monsters Inc., smashing fingers. So from that secure entry, they can say, hey, I'm just dropping off lunch to the kiddo that forgot, and then run. Or they can be let in with a buzzer into the office. After that, we still want to control them in the office, so they shouldn't be able to get to the rest of the building from there. So a lot of times there's a conference meeting with a teacher and an admin and a parent, and that's all they need to do is come into an office or a conference room and then leave. Or after that, if they are here for recruiting of some sort, they're here for a presentation, and they get to go pass all the checks and balances, then you can use another buzzer to let them into the rest of the building. So that's the goal for most of our secure entries. With the allotted money of $3 million, trying to make sure we put the right money where we need to,
the first office that's up on the board on the TV is the district office. For this one, we don't have that coiling counter door, but we still have a locked vestibule. So if it is a little fishy as to why the person is there, it can still be controlled, and the only door they can control is to leave the building. From discussions of who's coming into the district office, a lot of times it's regulars, it's male, you know who's coming and who's not. This guy right here,
Always let me in.
or it's my boss Todd, that's always confused as to where he's going yet, knows exactly where he needs to be, but, so we've really just focused on the hallway, adding another set of doors. All of those doors have a readable key card, and then also again from the reception, you can unlock all of those doors. Beyond that, you'll see some hatches saying, you know, let's update finishes while we're in the area, since we're doing HVAC. If it's not included in recent updates of ceilings or anything like that, then paint, ceilings, and flooring will be updated throughout the space. So that's the district office, is just get the main secure entry fit in there. Moving on to the junior high lead. For this one, for how oblong it is, we had to add on a space under the existing canopy as it is now. This is the setup that we're looking for, where there is a controlled vestibule labeled waiting, reception with what looks like to be a nice open counter and welcoming for people visiting the building, but there's a secret little coiling door that you can close if things get real crazy. And then again, doors control different entries into different spaces. Either you get let into the office and nowhere else, or you do get access to the rest of the building after that. Going down to the next one. For the high school, this was a tricky one. There is a main entry, your event entry, what I would call, that's aligned with your auditorium. And you do have, this is where your SRO is now, security, and you have a semi-security down there. You have a little window you can talk. But the issue is after that, what we try to do is you don't get immediate access to the rest of the building. Again, really a lot of the stuff we're trying to push is only in the office, and you're not going any further than that. So in this one, we have a secondary entrance in the little speckled hatch to the west is a new sidewalk, and then a new doorway, so I can, again, have people come and go directly from the office, so they can have a say of who's doing what. Keep going. I went into far too much detail with your buildings committee, and I kept them too long, and then I was like, wow, I've kept you guys for hours and hours, I'm so sorry. So I'm trying to go fast, and just let me know if I'm skipping over too much. That's the main goal with secure entries. Moving on after that, we can go into athletics.
Any questions about secure entrance?
I was just gonna add to that, this would only be what, between hours of like 8 and 3, like the main bus and everything would be still through the main entrances and exits. It's just for during the day.
Again, it's to restrict that, because right now, if you're to walk into high school, you get buzzed in.
You're wide open.
You're walking to wherever you want to. So
It would be that second set of doors that gets more secure, right?
no, they would.
No.
All those doors would be.
There's a totally separate entrance into the high school.
Yeah.
It's cutting a door into that west wall that's in the main office now and creating a sidewalk, right?
We're the same.
No, right, I'm saying that second, after you gain access to that vestibule, the event vestibule, would you upgrade those doors too, or those are gonna stay kind of how they are?
Those doors are newer, aren't they?
Yeah, I think those stay.
So that just stays?
Yeah, it just.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, in the new elementary, in newer editions, really what we would have is we wouldn't have that men's restroom right in the middle of all of this.
Okay.
And your setup would be perfect. They would come into that bigger vestibule, and during the day, the electronics would control it a certain way and say you can come and go, whatever. And then at night, those doors are more your good old day back in the day where it's just unlock, vent entry, come on in for the night, make sure everybody leaves at the end of the night, and then lock up and prepare for the next day where it's controlled again. So, and then the same with buses in the morning and in the evening. Those doors will have the opportunity to be what you need for that hour.
Thoughts, questions, ideas, suggestions, anything on the secure entrance piece of it? So if I'm saying it right, this would kind of be like a phase one
Yeah.
piece of it. Remember, this would be what you'd be using that 3.5 million that we're under budget for to, as phase one if you choose to do so. Okay, ready to move for the next one?
Yes. Yep. So, the weight room, that has always been a subject since, so I did a physical needs assessment walkthrough in 2021, and the weight room was somehow up behind the bleachers in the gym. I don't know how the equipment got up there. I don't know how the equipment got down. But I was like, so I'm guessing we need to work on the weight room sometime. It's moved around a little bit, has tried to find its spot. We also spoke about wrestling, and we were considering, because the existing wrestling room is right here, can we somehow blow it out and make it a bigger open space, because you need over 30 by 30 open space to fit those wrestling mats. That's the biggest issue. Is wrestling isn't that complicated, except that it just needs a big area. In the purple line that you can see, we need a pretty substantial fire separation between our additions and existing. So to help simplify some of the costs of weight room versus wrestling, the weight room size and where it can fit and move around, it can be a little more flexible, because the pieces of equipment you just have to line up in different rows. So in this design, we have the junior high still taking over the existing wrestling room as it is, adding on for a weight room to the east of it, taking some opportunities, since we're in the area, to ease up some issues with stage, backstage, and storage between band and performances. And just giving enough space for the proposed newer equipment of the weight room in there. Just to the south of this would be our elementary addition, and the doorway to the south is what would take you into the storm shelter or the elementary. And there was discussion of how do we make sure, again, we are controlling where people go, where they don't go. So this is it's in its own right a secure vestibule, in the sense of I had to do some maneuvers with the doorways of the firewall and giving some control of, if you're in this hallway and you don't have a key to the elementary, you're not going to get into the elementary. If you're in this hallway, you don't have a key to the high school, you're not going to get into it. Which is all of that. If you're like, wow, there's 6 doors or something, all in this one little spot. That's what we're working around there. Some of the doors on the firewall can be propped open. You won't really notice they're there until they get shut when the alarm goes off.
When you say storm shelter, that's just the gym of the new junior high.
Yep, the new elementary building is your storm shelter, and this isn't accomplished everywhere we go. It is able to hold the entire population, not just the elementary. So it was nice to get this connected to it.
Just to reiterate, like, these 2 doors would pretty much be closed all the time, right?
Yep.
Unless,
Unless there's some.
And I think what she's saying, Eric, is the doors on the purple wall there, the double doors, those would be like magnetic hold open, so they'd be open unless the fire alarm goes off, and then they'd shut.
well, thanks for working that out. That's tricky.
I know I said let me sleep on it, and maybe I'll come up with a better idea. Maybe I'll sleep on it again.
Well, it's functional.
Seven doors, but, I know. Yeah, I'll sleep on it.
No, we just don't have the right guys.
Oh. Oh, they're
You
older?
have the old. she
Yeah,
does
we have the
separate
notes
ones.
from.
No, that's
when we
okay.
talked that
Okay,
night.
sorry. I was just looking at it on my thing.
But that's right.
This is the one you just sent me.
Okay.
This one is the one you sent me. It's the one that they're seeing.
Okay, wonderful.
Well, the majority of
We
what's
don't
in
have-
our so-called weight room right now fit into this new space? Or-
Yes, and I reached out to, I'm blanking on their name right now, but a company out here that's been working with their team for new equipment. So I know it spoke briefly about number of racks, and then there was mention of adding cardio. So I took the list that I was given and then a little some to get some rowers, was a big mention. Still threw in some treadmills and bikes, just to show floor plan. The one thing about this is it's a very square addition. And I know there was a talk of visibility through the equipment. So I got the racks at the perimeter of this addition. There are some pulley systems that I would recommend putting into a 4 cluster and putting near the middle. They're not as bulky as the racks, so hopefully the visibility will help with that and just give us a little more efficiencies in the layout of the equipment. Cardio wasn't there, they could go up against the wall too, so.
Is this similar size to like the junior high gym? All the
Yes.
equipment's in now, very, very similar.
It's like 200 square foot massive.
So it's about the same size as the junior high, old junior high gym, but the way equipment is in now.
So is all the equipment in this budget as well?
It is not in this budget, I have that number, I believe,
Working with the boosters.
Okay.
That's been their big project, is coming up with supporting some of this piece, equipment, new equipment pieces.
Okay.
For that, so. Yeah. In our Y here is our junior high wrestlers currently wrestle up behind the bleachers up top. That, I actually talked to Lucas today about, are we ready for that to have matting along the walls and everything else? Get to that point. That piece, those teams continue to grow. Our Rocket Field Club continues to grow. Our high school wrestling team continues to grow, and that allows us to move our high school wrestling team from that single mat to the current weight room now, and then also be able to roll those mats up during the off season to be able to utilize that for other space as well moving forward. As far as the weight room goes, that's the classroom that we have. Some kids an hour in that as well, so it's kind of like the greenhouse project, like it just is time to update and time to get moving with it. So that's our why behind each of these projects here. So this would be like a phase 2, which includes renovation of the old bathroom /
yes, the dressing
Dressing
rooms
rooms.
in the stage area, we
Can you
just
scroll down just a little bit?
just
Scroll
went
down.
on a,
Or other way.
scroll up,
By the way.
went through a tour through there. I first proposed messing around with some more of these walls to add dressing rooms back in. After certain discussions, we've we're removing, at least getting it out of there to give some more space, really for storage. We've talked about, you'll see, I just added a markup this morning about there is plumbing in this area, and hopefully we can hook back up with a big utility sink, so when you're building the sets, and I told the story of, I painted all of my sets in high school, and I spilled a whole thing of paint down my entire front, so I would be the kid in need of that utility sink. Just really just freeing up some space to give some flexibility of what we're doing in there versus those very, very small dressing rooms.
So this would be kind of the phase 2 piece of it. So if you keep in mind, our phase 1 secure entrance was our Y, it's pretty obvious.
Phase two is weight room and potential backstage spots.
So when we say phase one, phase two, what year is phase one, and what year is phase two?
We're gonna get to that. Just keep it in mind. Are you ready?
It's a question to the games. When does the funds get?
She said they're not.
Ready for the next one?
Yep.
All right. That just looks at the current weight room that turns into a potential wrestling room.
So as Marcus mentioned, the nice thing about, instead of trying to remodel this to be the weight room, these mats can get, what we talked about is very impressive system that would take the mats and hold it up against the wall. Those are pretty pricey, so I found out. But you can still roll these up and store them in the junior high wrestling area. And then that gym floor that's under there, which I don't think is a wood gym floor, but I mean, it's still a practice area that could be something else when it's not wrestling season. So it would be nice to know that it can be used for more than one thing, or whatever you need for it.
2 full wrestling mats in there, in that gym?
I have 2 full wrestling mats in there. This is a custom mat. I asked them to lay out because I was trying to get some practice rings in there. So you'll see, you have more width than what you actually needed, but
Would you had, I know the main wrestling room now has padding all the way around it. Would you update that as well?
reached out to a company for pricing on that and I can hand it over. I did pull that aside again because the other thing about the budget is some of this extra equipment, it doesn't need to go through me.
Okay.
And you don't have to pay me for it. So like my budgeting has designer fee and everything in it. So I do have a budget to keep in mind. So we're ready for it.
Any other questions about phase two? Show the picture first.
So
Quad room?
Yes.
So after this, going into what's next for the junior senior high building. What was mentioned is that there's 2 libraries for the high school and the junior high, but there's 1 librarian.
Is this the purple?
That is the orange square. If you look for the orange square in the middle of the purple, you are, there we go, yep. This is what we call the quad rooms. It has a cooler name than what it is because of those lovely accordion separation panels in the space. So this is where we started playing some musical chairs with there's currently classes in these spaces. So we asked, where can they be moved to if we wanted to combine libraries? And I have some budget set aside for taking some bigger rooms and spaces throughout the building, cutting it down into 2 classrooms. There's also a couple of spaces that are just available as they are right now that we know there's a home. We aren't just kicking them out and not giving them another place to go. This would allow us to place a library at the heart of the building that is easily accessible to both populations without too much overlap. The age difference starts to get pretty noticeable when a 6th grader is going past senior. So we just try to find that happy middle ground. In this layout, I am pulling out or pushing back one of the walls and giving a similar setup to the reception area where there is portions of this design that seem open during the day. A lot of times we try to do this with libraries and places where kids want to break out because we're trying to use the corridor more than just passing for 3 minutes every period. So everything behind those bronze doors can be closed up and locked up at night, including another door above the counter. So some schools are so desperate for kiddos to read books, they're like, they can steal my books. I don't even care if there's doors there, but you can lock up what you need to at night. But what you can also do is open everything up, have visibility, and allow students, because a lot of times now it's not just for books. Students are breaking out into bigger classes. In the layout, the furniture can be interchangeable to what you need, but there's ideas of a lot of group work that are going into the library to work together. This all comes out to be, all that I've shown you so far, $2.97 million. Hodge is looking over it still, and I still want them to give me their blessing. This also still has contingencies, not including the contingencies that are connected to the elementary. There are also a couple of areas, for example, the addition to the weight room. There's technically an addition there for a vestibule for the way we have it now. So there's overlapping costs that I need to help figuring out to make sure we're all in the clear. But that was our goal, was we have 3.5 overall, can we hit 3 with some of these projects? These really are the next steps, including the bus barn. Like I mentioned in the community engagement session, we said, what's next beyond secure entries? Some of these were at the highest of the list, but bus barn was 100%. And push that off, didn't we? So
this would be quote unquote phase 3. So we're talking in terms of pricing goes, we can fit phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 under that 3 million threshold. That still could give us that $500,000 kind of buffer piece of it. The phase 3 includes redoing the quad block and then being able to like redo the junior high library to make that 2 classrooms and be able to move a few classrooms around that. We kind of talked a little bit about overlap. You have the opportunity to approve the health, life, safety piece of it tonight, which includes getting up the flooring, mastic in a lot of those rooms, so there's some overlap from there as well, but I'm not counting on that overlap. I prefer to overprice it than underprice it from the so that's what phase 1, 2, and 3 looks like. We'll talk about phase 4 that doesn't fit in there, but at least you understand where potential vision would be.
In the 2.9, just real quick, so that's got your design fees and some contingency built into that, correct?
Correct, yep.
So, any questions about phase 1, 2, or 3, sorry?
We're getting into dates of when these are going to occur? Or
We've talked about it, it wouldn't happen until next summer.
Okay.
At this point.
Just start,
I mean, especially phase.
Because these are all summer projects.
Yep.
Currently used.
Yeah. So, question is then what becomes of this area at this point, so.
So if the high school library moves down to the south, there's a pretty good chunk of space here that can be used for something else. Here along the way, I've heard a couple of things, particularly something that stood out was guidance and speech are sharing a room together, currently beside the cafeteria. So along with that, there's still this discussion of what's the best place to put the high school office. You know, the high school classrooms are up here, but the parking lot for the students are down south, so when they're coming and going, it still feels more comfortable to place them to the south. But is there a touchdown office up here to the north for some admin if they need it? So we're in the space that we're in with the valuable window. I'm breaking out into additional offices, so admin, if they need privacy, have a place to break out into. That wall back there, potentially blowing it out and giving a high school commons. So there is a space for students to break out into. A lot of the tables that you'll see in the sketch rendering is a cluster of 5 chairs around a TV screen. If students are trying to compile a presentation together, throw one up on the screen and say, if you like this, is that nice? And all the fun things that they probably aren't actually doing when they're sitting with their friends, but and then to the right, that white paneling is a operable partition, much different than the accordion that you have. They are sturdy, they can have marker boards, which is what the scribbling on it is. What that is taking over really where the book stacks are at, putting a door or that big operable partition there, giving still a spot for the board meeting to happen somewhere, but allowing it to open up to even a larger space that could be used for whatever you need during the day. I know sometimes testing can be hard because you need to separate the kids out so far. I'm not sure how much is needed for Rockridge in particular, but just giving some flexibility to something that's fairly core to the high school leaning, to give them some opportunities. The other thing that I like to do, just it's something small, but if we are putting guidance offices and things here, it is nice to sneak it into a more public area so people don't really know why you're hanging out. They don't know if you're coming to speak to somebody because you're upset or you're just hanging out because it's a nice little chair. So, just sometimes why we marry the two spaces together. But, so that's future. A lot of times what we talk about when we get near the end of a project, or if the district isn't as lucky as you guys to start on the next few phases, it's just always constantly talking about what's next, to make sure, you don't, a lot of times you'll see a district update who say the windows on a building that they actually don't want to keep, and it's like, oh, you updated all the windows. So just always talk about what's next, whether or not it's able to get done now. That's it.
That's all we got for right now.
I think that's far less time that I spent.
A lot of information.
Yeah, well, thank the LGD, because I think as long as I've been on buildings, Crowds, we always wanted like a future plan of what we're gonna do, and so this really plays out the utilization of space really well, because we had a lot of underutilized space, as you saw from earlier.
The space is there, it's just how do you figure out?
That's
Yeah, it's hard to organize when it's such a big building, so, yeah.
As Marcus said too, with including this future one, that would take us right over that 3.5, so that's why we kind of left this one off as a separate piece, but we can get those first three all within longer years, 3.5.
Thoughts, ideas, suggestions, comments, concerns?
Any questions from the administrators too, like our EC or something?
I've talked to our administrators and talked to Ms. B about this idea about moving down there. She feels comfortable with it. And try to get involvement for those that will be impacted. Teachers moving, I haven't had that conversation yet because I don't know if I want to get their hopes up about moving out of the block. So a little hesitant on that notion with it, but that's it. So what are we looking for really out of tonight from the board?
Really just need to, if it's okay for us to start going more than just a sketch with it. That way we get the engineers involved and start really looking into what it's gonna take to really get these good drawings and get real numbers.
Percent ones.
Yeah.
So a total of 9%.
Out of the
2.9.
Yeah.
235 grand or 290 grand or something.
So you talked to the administrators?
I talked to Mrs. Baker, I talked to Mr. Little.
Yeah, Mr. Earl, you're good with the auditorium?
Please get rid of those stretching.
Good.
Underutilized.
It's up to you. We'll have the information and the pricing, so it just really, whether you want them to continue on to get the engineers involved and really push forward. But the idea would probably be next summer of doing these projects at that point, correct?
Yep. And again, I think what ELD's presented, we're considering like change orders to the main project essentially.
So we don't have to bid it out, we can use the same people.
No, so it'd really be, we get prices there, but from the contractors that are working on the larger project.
So it'd be summer of 26 or 27?
Thinking summer 26, so like, for example, the weight room, site work foundation, summer 26 we would start, and then the goal would be to have that all finished in stride as we finish up the new addition and turn that over with it. And then the secure entrances, we would target what makes sense with where we're working. So say if we're in the junior high doing hot and heavy HVAC work, we would tackle that office renovation, the secure entrance. And then say maybe the high school office area, if we're down in that area, summer 27, we would do that secure entrance. At least that's the thought right now, is we would try to tie it together. Because obviously the existing school HVAC work is too much work to do in one given summer. So it's gonna be summer 26, and then what we can do during school years, during breaks, and then summer 27, finish up the last chunk of it.
Two on the, so we talked about, we're under budget right now, about $3.5 million on the elementary school, but the, those contingencies we had built into our original budget for the elementary school, do we still have those?
They're above and beyond the 3.5.
Okay, so that's why I want to make sure, yeah.
And we're still at 3.5, because we did make some changes, like you said, we're gonna go all concrete.
Yep.
That's including all that, right?
Yep. Yep.
This is phase 4, right, where we're sitting?
Yeah.
And we're giving the go-ahead for that as well? Or?
My preference would be to wait on phase 4.
It's appearing like if you did this, it would be over budget.
Right.
Yep. So,
I guess, so what do you need from us?
Really, I don't need a vote, just a, yes, go ahead and keep moving, and this is something that I can continue moving for phases 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
Not phase 4.
Our subject 4 is not far off pending contingencies, so I'd say something.
So Andy hasn't presented yet. Still got another one to go.
Got a whole nother little project.
Yeah. So
what you're seeing.
So I guess we're saying proceed?
That's it.
Yeah.
Do we want to include prices for the weight room with that too?
Well, I think they're just
But
one
that doesn't
to
matter.
1-2% engineering,
Yeah.
get a little bit more.
For the weight room.
Andy's gonna come up, Andy's still going over the numbers too.
Yep.
And we could always use the older.
We,
Yeah, you don't.
I looked at the weight room edition, I feel that's a helpful number that they've got in that. I came up with a number that's like 150.
Is there any way to get those foundations in? Or is that-
Yeah, that'd be the goal. It's all depends on how fast they move, but if they can get us going, say by February, when I tracker quote it, and then we roll into that. We could be out there in April, getting that thing in the ground
I
there.
mean, if they're here,
100%.
no point having them come back.
2026 is when all the time big work's gonna happen out
And
there.
we're good with dirt work, I mean, I know we're gonna be digging out some foundations, but we don't need to raise these.
No, that's a real level spot. That's on the nice side of things for the weight room's out. Yep.
And then are we having plumbing in there? Is there gonna be a drinking fountain or a drink station or?
I was gonna say, you have to have a drink fountain out there. Yeah.
We're good and moving. I think Zach and Caleb move forward with some engineering pieces, and again, you're really looking at the budget to move forward with phases 1, 2, and 3.
And our goal is when we do those different pieces that are phases, each one of those will be an RFP we'll put together, a proposal. So that way you can still see those numbers broken out differently. So if you want to say yes to 2, and say no to 3, or however you want to do, we can look at that once we get through.
But once we get some solid numbers, we're gonna,
Yeah, absolutely.
okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you'll have an action item for probably each phase would be what I'd like to see you do. So you're gonna have a hard number for phase 1 for the secure entrance, hard number for phase 2, the weight room and all that. Phase 3 is the quad block. So you'd have those hard numbers to vote on once they're ready.
And I think it'll be a lot like the bigger project. As they progress on documents, they'll kick it to us. We'll put together real budgets with the contractors, and then we'll present those at board meetings as well. So I think as we move along, everybody will get a level of comfort as we proceed.
We are incurring some services costs. I mean, probably, I don't know, to less than 10%. So, I mean, we are incurring some costs to just proceed with that.
And that's the budget, you completely turnkey, everything, all, everything.
Okay, most important question, Jamie. Thumbs up?
I didn't see a no.
See, that's a laugh like too, she's telling me no. Tell me yes, she's telling me no. Okay, any questions for Zach and Taylor? Thank you. If you want to get Bill and say, talk to them more, walk in or hang out and listen to. Talk about that.
Sit and listen about the bus barn.
Yeah.
Anything?
Let me see, I'm gonna pass around the piece, I printed two, the same PDFs twice, so I missed this one, so please, this is the kind of design of it. The next piece is, so that was, remember that was, we're under budget. This piece we've talked about.
I don't have anything fancy like what you and Zach put together for drawing. But a few things just to illustrate what the larger option bus barn would look like. So that floor plan and the boxes shown on the Google Earth maps are the larger building option.
Anybody else out there want to see this? Because I can share. Oh, you got it on there, Mike? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I just didn't have it printed for you, so that's a long PDF twice. So really what this stems from is during the community engagement, like Kayla talked about, was the one thing that got 100% support was getting rid of the bus barn out there. Yeah, so that's been in discussion for quite some time. Amy called me a couple of weeks ago. Hey, I got this idea for you. And so I'll let him kind of talk a little bit more about it, but understand that this would be coming from our 1% sales tax money at this point, which can only be used for facility, for brick and mortar type of things. We have money now, so there's a couple different opportunities there, but really the one that we talk about would be potentially a debt certificate, right? That gets paid back through the 1% sales tax, so that has nothing to do with the tax levy. It means nothing to the taxpayer. It's all from that 1% sales tax that Rock Island County, we get a little bit from Mercer County as well. So just know that they're separate pots if you decide to move forward with this, of where that money comes from to purchase this. So, what would you think?
So we can go through the floor plan, site plan, just to kind of get you guys familiar with like the layout and the thought behind how it's laid out. And this is just all schematic stuff, just to give you an idea of the size of building. Marcus gave me some quantities of large size buses, cones, small buses, vans. So as you can see, everything is able to park under one roof, which is better than what you guys have currently. Your current bus barn today is 80 foot by 150. The building here is 125 by 200, essentially.
Why don't you give them a story of how this?
So the larger building option that's shown here is actually a building that we have a customer that ordered it earlier this year. We were going to build this warehouse for them over in Silvis. That customer has since essentially wanted to cancel that building order and doesn't want this to be an addition to his current warehouse. So we had an opportunity to get a larger building at a discounted rate, essentially. That's why we're showing this larger building. You'll see that there's two budgets that we put together. One is for 100 by 175 foot building, which realistically is probably about perfect for the district's bus barn. Because as you can see with the larger building, the buses are spaced out real comfortably. So you could definitely go smaller. You've got a lot of storage capabilities as well for a larger building. But we wanted to look at that option because, again, if there's an opportunity to get a larger building, district gets more square footage, what's the cost to get that larger building? And as you can see on the budgets, you could order a smaller building yourselves, custom order it for the district, build it, And all in with the contingency amount factored in and design fees at like 10% thrown in is a budget. The smaller building is about 2.9 and the larger building is about 3.25. So again, about $350,000 more. They have an extra almost 8,000 square foot building, which really breaks down to a pretty cheap price per square foot for a new building.
What are the big things that this will have that our current one doesn't? Like, is this gonna be heated? Or-
So this will be heated, no air conditioning, the office area, so restroom, that office break area would have air conditioning and heat. You'd be able to park all your buses under roof. Currently, you can't do that. Some buses get parked outdoors around the bus barn, et cetera.
And that's everything. That's all the small buses, that's driver's ed, that's.
Yeah, all of it.
Anything we own that has 4 wheels is gonna be under.
Under roof. This gives you indoor wash bay opportunity where you could put your buses in, wash them off in the winter, wash them off any time of the year. Again, it gives you your part storage indoors, additional storage space that can really use as flex space. I mean, that area right there is like 50 by 50, and I really think that if we laid it out as a team, as we work together, you could get more of a bigger storage area if you want.
And that number includes like tying into the road and all that
Correct.
stuff.
Yep, all the
Is
grading.
the county gonna make you put in like a turn lane or anything?
I don't think about turn lane, Ryan. Definitely some legit approaches. Like I was telling Derek before the meeting. I mean, here's an example of another bus barn that was done. You can see here, like here's the city street. I mean, here's the whole approach. So just so you can wheel in buses in and out fairly wide. Something like that might work. Like, I think it's a good idea there. But this is that other project that you can see here. It's the whole thing as you turn in. So I mean, they got like 80 foot, 90 foot of street frontage. It's all just one big approach. Yes. I don't think it would. It's not a high traffic area. You're far enough off that intersection.
And then, so like, can you go to the other one, Marcus?
This one here.
So like, Andy, let's say the green space between the bus barn and
The road.
the road, is that,
That's all paving is how I show it right now.
that's in the budget?
Yep.
What about behind it?
Yep. So on the county road side, there's 75 foot of paving there. On the back side, I did see some dimensions that are 55, because a large school bus nose to tail is 45 feet. So I did at least 55 out of the building, thinking as you're coming out and you're gonna turn and make your way around the bus barn to head back out to the county road. Enough space to get that, and then 20 foot drive lanes on both sides, which is the size of a road. essentially. So you have paving all the way around. Obviously, this is just blocks that represent space. Because that's a 4.6 acre lot that you guys own over there. This is the old Edgington grade school site.
So the question is, are you gonna just go over there and explore, dig, and see what's going on there?
I think you're gonna need to. Obviously, the playground's still there. I mean, as you walk it, it's fairly flat. It doesn't feel like there's foundations, but again, until you scratch around, they could have buried that 2 feet below grade. So, and I wasn't here when that school was tore down, so I don't know how it was tore down. I don't know if they really did. They tear out the foundations, if they just bury it.
I don't remember.
Good questions, but
I don't know if they tore it all out and filled like the gym in with dirt, or if they took all the brick and just filled the basement in and.
I think they just filled it in. I don't think they did anything like that. I think it'll be one thing in there.
so that's the biggest mystery is what's under the ground. That's in the budget I put there, that's what the contingency is for, essentially. I mean, in my mind, the biggest mystery about building a square rectangular warehouse is gonna be the site work. It's all gonna be soil conditions.
How much you have in there for contingency?
220,000.
You think if they just did what we said they did, that'd cover it?
It would.
Digging down and hauling all the dirt out?
Does that take up all of it?
No.
Okay.
No.
I mean, only
I
the
guess
bigger part of
we
the
probably
building.
would spend somewhere between 60 to 80,000 bucks if we had a site guy on site to pull out the whole foundation system and haul it out, and then fill it in with like line screws or something like that to build back off of.
It's not the entire school, it's just the bigger part.
No.
Because the add-on was there was no basement. That was the picture of that, yeah.
basketball hoops down there.
Basketball.
You can see it. There's that lower picture right there. That's the old school. Yep.
So if us will pull straight in, they won't turn twice to pull in.
Correct.
And then pull out,
There'd be doors on both sides, so you'd pull in and then you could pull out the backside and just pull right back around.
never really have to reverse.
Exactly. Yep.
Also, we thought there might be some old oil tanks, maybe from heating and stuff like that. We were wondering if that's.
It could be. I mean, what era was that school built? Like Taylor Ridge, like 50s, 60s probably?
Oh, no, before then.
Was it?
Before then.
Like
It was like
30s, 40s?
Like 30s, 40s, yeah.
How old's Taylor Ridge? Like 50s?
57. 57. Illinois City Taylor is 57. Edgerton would have been around 30s, 40s.
And Andalusia is the oldest school that they have. So there could be a fuel oil tank. We've ran into those before. That's not a huge undertaking to pull those and fill them.
We're just wondering, yeah, first contamination, like if, what kind of things we get, worst case.
That's the main concern would be what's underground. That's what we're gonna spend contingency money on, in my opinion.
Every school has to, Lanphier High School had a pretty big workaround for finding foundations. I think they remained, but they had to make sure it would be stable enough to keep onto it. And Berlin found a tank.
What about asbestos?
Like if they just shut it all in a hole and buried it, it's also sitting in there.
When was this taken down?
I'm guessing sometime between 2000
something like that.
2005. So 20 years ago, it's around.
I thought that. Never heard of that.
Do you guys have any record of who did the demo work?
I was telling you, when we cleaned out the old one, I thought I came across something about when they tore down.
Because you think that like you would have had to do like a whole public bid letting.
I'd say it wasn't that long ago, like EPA would have had some
Yeah.
hand in it or something like that. So that's something, there has to be records.
I'll bet it's in your board minutes. I bet we can do some digging against the board minutes, all those.
Because if we could find out who did the
I'll bet it's in
demo,
there.
like if it's 20 years ago, likely they still could be a contractor that's working today. I mean, we could try to contact them and figure out exactly maybe what happened there. As a starter, the next move would probably be moving Apollo over there and just do some potholing around there to figure out what is underground. That'd be the next move. Or if you had any old drawings from the Edgington School, which is a stretch, but if you had something that might show like old fuel oil tank location, I doubt that we have that kind of record document.
Measure off those trees and go right under that stack.
Those trees are still there.
Yeah.
And so is the playground. Kind
No basketball.
And then updating like the concrete and everything here for them.
of. So included in that budget is to tear down the old bus barn and then to turn that into asphalt parking lot. But if you didn't want to turn it into asphalt parking lot, that would be, if you wanted to make it green space or something. But right now it's back to just pavement and asphalt, and that's for adjacent parking spaces. It's right.
Just for clarification too, the new bus barn, the floor would be, is it gravel or?
Concrete's what's figured right now. Yep,
It's the entire thing's heated, right?
yes.
Every square inch.
Every square inch has got heat. Only the office area's got air conditioning. We would insulate that paper barrier a little bit differently, but what we would propose right now would just be like a simple residential split system for that office space, and then the rest of it would all be like radiant heat with maybe some fans to circulate, and then like I told you, some sort of cross ventilation system in the big bus barn square, like a louvered wall vent with a exhaust system on the opposite side just to get some cross ventilation. Sounds like that's very typical for bus barns, and talking with a few people.
Do you have any idea what the utility bill would be for something like that? I mean, because right now we don't have heat, cool,
You just gotta keep it up 40, 50 degrees. You don't have to have it 70 degrees.
Right, but I mean, that's a big space.
It'll cost you money that you don't have now because you don't have
Right.
you have a cold storage shed, basically.
Right.
I'm not sure.
And then is this
I mean, this is concept, right, for like the wash bay and.
Yeah, 100%. Just fitting boxes inside the big box just to see how it all fits.
And do we have any idea what this insurance would increase? I mean, that would increase insurance coverage.
You know, it really comes down to the idea of, I've had some people ask, well, what do we even need a bus barn for? I see other school districts that don't have bus barns, their buses just sit out all the time. Typically, those are school districts that lease their buses, so we turn them in every 2 to 3 years, or even yearly sometimes. We don't. We purchase all of ours, so to keep them out of the elements, I think will hopefully in the long term be able to get that ability to keep those buses longer and they're not get rusted out and so on and so forth over time. So, you know, we've started that process of turning over some of our bus fleet due to issues with rust and so on and so forth. So that would be the idea here. You know, the current building was designed for school buses that were 65 passengers. Now we're purchasing 72 passenger buses. So you can't fit, Jesse knows, you can't fit this one to this one, but that one to this one. So this will allow 72 passengers front to back, which helps, and you don't have to be this close, so bus drivers can actually like walk to their buses. But it really came up twofold. One is we had that opportunity, and two, that was something that was 100% from our community engagement pieces to get rid of that bus barn. They realized how much people hate that bus barn until the community engagement session. But
It's in a prime spot.
First they can see when you pull in.
Even if you just get rid of the bus barn itself, it will allow for more parking spots, just because you don't have to clear the space for the buses to get in there.
And that's always an issue. I know we put no parking up there, but it's always an issue. And buses whipping around and coming in and not whipping around, that's wrong word. Coming in and trying to park and move around some of the parking cars there, or there's always something over in that lot that's an issue with it. I mean, we made it work. Jesse does a good job of working with bus drivers and make stuff work, so it's not dire of but it is an opportunity that I wanted to bring to you to see what your thoughts were on this.
It sounds like we'll never beat this cost.
No, it's really good price.
So what do we have to do like right now?
As far as,
Yes.
I think is just continue to give him the okay to now really start working and getting those pieces that I work with. If you'd like to issue a debt certificate that would be paid for through 1% sales tax to work with John Cassetti to see what opportunities he has available to them. For us.
I'd like to see a budget with Jesse and Steve's opinions. I bet he's gonna win one bay. One bay. Be kind of hard if the bus is broke down, you can't get it out of there. We got another one to work on.
It looks like for that storage is another, there's doors over on the other side. I mean, like I said, and again, this is,
right.
I think he's worked with Scott for a couple days. And Scott Johnson.
That could change some costs significantly.
Okay.
I'd say work with those two, and then, you know, if you came back next month, is that enough time?
Yeah.
I mean, I still wouldn't be against Apollo going over there and digging while their equipment's here.
Yep.
You know,
I mean,
we can give a change order for that and say, dig, start digging a hole and see what you find.
Yep.
If you see white dusty stuff, cover back up.
That's okay. So I guess the question on the debt service letter, or the 1%, like, do we envision that restraining us on any of our building maintenance over the next 5 years? I mean, just like a rainy day kind of situation.
So we foresee having the funds to pay for this by the end of fiscal year 28. We can we'll have about 1.9 million fund reserve funds in facility tax by the end of this school year. So if we figure another 800,000 for the next two, we're gonna be at 3.5, which is a little bit more than what we need. And that's with no help from any of our other reserves. That's not including our potential 1.8 to 2 million in interest income that we're earning off bond proceeds. So right now, we're trying to not tap into that at all. We do have some working cash fund reserves that we have no plans for. I would prefer not to touch those, but if we want to cash flow it faster, that's an option as well. So we have some options, but if we just want to pay it outright with what our unreserved fund balance is as of June 30th, which is about 1.1 million, and then our revenue for sales tax over the next 3 years, that will pay for itself. And then we still have the money that we are budgeting in O&M, which is about 300,000 a year. So if we don't spend that, that is helping those reserves grow. And we're really not paying for any project costs except out of facility tax and fire life safety right now. So those funds are getting a chance to grow. So if we come up with needs after all these projects are done, then we potentially have money in those funds that we could use. I don't know what would be left after all this, but I think in those funds, it would be small enough costs that we could pay for those or have the reserves to float those.
Any conversations with the finance committee was if let's do this additional line to protect the reserves so they can.
One number I think we need to kind of come up with and understand is when we get all this done, and this building's done and the new building's done, how much money are we gonna spend a year on maintaining that equipment? I mean, we're gonna have a lot of air handlers, a lot of chillers. What is it gonna cost us to maintain that stuff every year? If we, let's just say we bring in outside contractors and we do nothing ourselves. I think we need to come up with that. It's gotta be done.
Try to quantify that, yeah.
Yeah.
You even think about like your filter replacements alone on air handling units. I mean, filters nowadays, especially the higher MERV rated ones, are really expensive.
And that's gonna be probably what, once a month?
Yeah, or every couple months for sure.
Maybe more in the spring.
Yep. And you got people a couple times a year probably washing your coils, getting all the cottonwood and everything off your handlers. And then just typical maintenance, compressors or whatever else.
So is that a number we need to get, or is that a number that you can get?
I mean, if we were gonna get it, Derek, I would call like somebody like Crawford that does mechanical maintenance work and try to compare that to like similar facilities that they maybe work in and try to come up with an average cost for a large facility like this. I'm sure some mechanical,
Well, they should be able to do it. They got all the drawings. They know exactly what equipment they're putting in.
That's who we lean on. That's who's doing the job with us here, so they can help the district try to quantify what that would be from a maintenance standpoint.
It'd be nice to have that like in the next month.
Yeah.
I know they're busy, but just so we can say, God, we're gonna spend $300,000 a year maintaining this equipment.
Something you're not even thinking about right now. Yeah.
It's something that train in the ACUs and HVAC visa has reached out to ask if we are interested in either that type of service agreement or extended warranty or all that other stuff. I've asked for kind of a menu list of what it would cost, and they haven't received that.
It'd also be nice to kind of break it down a little bit too. If, say 100% package, you're gonna do it all. Or how much is it gonna cost to have you guys come in and change it when we can do it ourselves?
Yeah.
And buy the filters ourselves and not pay the market. Yeah. Just give us all an idea. So I think that's a number we need to know.
Yeah.
Sooner than later.
Yeah. Exactly.
Good thing with the elementary is you are combining 3 into 1, so you have some efficiencies happening.
Correct.
It's just, you put it towards that, put it in savings.
Because my guess is if you had a compressor go out on an air handling unit, Greg's probably not replacing that compressor. It's not like in the store where you're gonna have like spare compressors. You're just gonna go out there and swap them out. You're probably you're calling some mechanical contractor.
You're gonna get a crane, you're gonna get.
Somebody to do else, qualified technician to come out and do that.
That building that's available, is there a window of opportunity that?
But I will say that I think if we could get like an email to him to let him know that we're being serious, that would be very helpful. I mean, he's mentioned that if he's got a commitment, we could just leave it at his lot and store it there. He's got it covered up with a tarp anyways for the winter.
We're gonna get the color of tin on that already, or not?
The siding's all there with it.
What color?
It's
Purple.
It's purple and yellow, so hopefully like.
I think you just lost your building.
It's a tan color with like a charcoal gray trim, like the outside corners and the gutters and the downspouts. It's a pretty decent trim.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. I had to, when we said yes, and you put up a purple and yellow building.
It's a great question.
So I guess what Andy is here looking for kind of tonight is that something you're willing to, the board is serious about, or is it kind of the same question we had, for example, like you want them to keep moving forward with it, and almost look at something of need something in December, need something in January for this commitment, or where are you looking at?
The sooner the better on the commitment with him. Like, this guy, we were gonna build it, and he changed his mind. I could see if we waited too long, he might decide to just go ahead and build the thing too, but.
And then a timeline for putting this up would be?
Start to finish.
Just thought process.
About 6 months to do the whole thing, site work, foundations, erect the building, all the components of it, and turn it over to you.
So you would start probably, are you thinking like this spring, this early summer kind of a deal? Or
Yeah, that's what I was, in my mind, that's kind of what I was thinking. If we were progressing that fast enough, we wanted to hold off and wait, we certainly could do that. But hypothetically, if you started it in May, we'd be done by like October, November, kind of a thing. If we were able to start in March, might be close to like September when school year starts.
I myself think it's a no-brainer with the size that we're gonna get for the amount.
The other component with it is, I've had high hopes we could take our spoils from the new building and haul any extra dirt over to that site, because it does dip off on the northwest corner. I've been hopeful to do that, but we've been holding off because we don't want to get everybody excited about what's going on over there, or people with hurt feelings because esports people can't use it. So we've been holding off, but the sooner we can get direction on that, the better it's going to make sense for people. Instead of backfilling foundations and spoils up there, we just haul right there and get it put in place.
After we do some.
After we do some potholing, we'll figure out what's underground. If you guys are okay with that, we could have Apollo do that in the next couple of weeks and go over there, mess around a little bit.
I'd say that's okay. Keep proceeding. So I'd say we're pretty serious. Jamie, are we serious? Are we serious?
Yep, but as long as you guys are aware that we are getting to that point where there's not a lot of funds for any other big additions that are.
Yeah.
And I've asked Marcus, what are the plans for like the 10-year plan, and I think most of it's been captured in what we've talked about. So as long as you don't have something real expensive that is still on your wish list.
You're not getting your jet bikes.
Okay. Any other questions for really? I just we'll talk on some, but I was just wondering how we're doing on.
Really good, really good.
Okay, that's good.
Yep, I'll send you the report. It should be on Procore as well, but we're within tolerance. Yep.
So everything's, I think schedule wise, we're looking at doing deep foundations like next week.
They're molding right now. Right now, we're on a little bit of a holding pattern, just trying to locate that existing lift stations through monkey wrenches a little bit. We've had to move a couple piers around to avoid some things. And then there's sewer lines running through there, power to it. The power runs right here as well. So we're gonna have to reroute some power back to the lift station. But in the next probably 5 days or so, we're gonna start some deep foundations.
Was there discussions around how to maintain work through the winter? There's some discussions around.
Yes, and we'll just have to evaluate it as Mother Nature starts setting in a little bit more in the next, call it 5 to 6 weeks. We'll just see how winter plays maybe. We'll start shallow foundations probably the week of Thanksgiving. So the week of the 24th is when we're looking to get Trevor here, because deep foundation should only take 4 or 5 days to get in and out once they start. And then we'll do shallow foundations until the weather gets really cold. We'll have winter accelerators, all the ready mix plants are already starting to use that already. We'll blanket walls as frequently as we can until it makes sense. But once it gets so cold, then we're gonna be in the mode of talking to Marcus and the board about, do we want to spend money on ground thawing equipment to keep the ground thawed, to keep foundations going, and a cost of what that looks like. And we'll start prepping that now. Just what's it gonna take to rent the thawing equipment, what's the fuel gonna cost to do it, what's it gonna take labor-wise to roll all that stuff in and out and blanket it every day. There's ways to do it, there's just a cost associated with it. If Mother Nature plays nice, it might be in January before we have to think that way, but it could be a month from now too, so.
I was always curious, on the construction there, is some of that, sorry, but I was wondering if you could set up like a board, like site visits, like on a monthly or bi-monthly basis, just so the board can kind of see what's going on.
Yeah. Heck, yeah. I mean, and timing would probably never work out for our weekly Tuesday meetings, but Tuesday at 9:30, we always have weekly construction meetings, but we could set up a once or twice a month for any day during the week afternoon. Obviously, it gets dark pretty early, so we want to do it at least by 4, so everybody can get a good hour of checking things out and get a good update. Yeah.
You're welcome any Tuesday.
Yeah.
And join us.
Okay, what's next?
Next is new building contingencies. This is something that Amy had talked about really when it comes to, she talked more about it than
I mean,
can.
it's kind of double-breasted thing, so it's really like, so we've got 9% contingency still sitting in there, which I think is about 2.7 million sitting in contingency, which would be going into construction. You guys can chime in too. I feel like that's really strong going into construction. I mean, typically we'd say, hey, carry 5%. So it's a question of, one, how much do we want to reduce down to what we call construction contingency, and then cut the rest of that money and roll it down into what you have left over. If that's the thing. The other piece of it would be, do we want to separate it and have it be a piece of that on like a construction manager's contingency that we work with Marcus on, something comes up in the field, it's a smaller dollar value item, something that we can move quickly on to keep things moving faster than presenting to the board for every change order and then waiting until we get the whole board approval, and then having half of that be like the district's contingency where it's used for construction changes, but it's really something on the board level that has to get approved. So that was just kind of some conversations about options with the contingency money that you guys have.
Just asking, what's the threshold that you want me to come back to the board to have an action item for a change order versus allow me to say, go ahead and do that? I mean, obviously we have Derek and Tom that are on the new building kind of committee piece of it, and all those change orders, and they're all gonna be run by you, don't get me wrong. But what point is it, what's the price threshold that you'd like to say, nope, I'd like the whole board to talk about it? So.
Is there gonna be a certain amount that the auditor should say, you approve that by yourself?
We have a bottom amount established.
There's about 50,000. And currently,
We gave you credit on all this stuff.
we're still doing
I thought it was 25.
It used to be 25. Just 2 or 3 years ago, I think they bumped it to 50. So with inflation.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know, what do you guys think that's happened? Jamie, you got a number? Well, I
Yeah, I mean, so I hate to say it, but truthfully, I mean, I would like to see us touch very little of that because the overall budget came in a smidge higher than I think what we really wanted it to be. But the idea was that we did have those contingencies in here. Now, we have accounted for the entire budget, but we are transferring money from the ed fund for anything over those debt, the bond proceeds. So if we whatever we're spending out of that contingency is coming from the ed fund, not from the bond proceeds. So just that you guys are aware of that. I would like to see us spend very little of it. Those are the ed
And, I
fund.
realize that there's times when a change order pops up that it's gonna affect the schedule, If it's gotta be done, it's gotta be done, but if it's something that, could hit a board meeting, we can discuss it.
That's our preference, believe me. We're not looking to like dash something in. It's
No,
really
but I
just-
don't wanna affect the schedule and,
Yeah.
we have a meeting tonight and Friday, you have something come up that, it can't wait. You're gonna affect
What would be the number you recommend?
4 other
from
trades.
a Sense of urgency.
I'd say somewhere between that 25 to 50,000, somewhere in there. I mean, between temp roads and like winter conditions and things like that, I could see us running into a few of those that, temp roads already, we had one shot that's like $12,000 for what we put in. We'll keep addressing that. And again, keep in mind, we'll get some money back eventually on that, but.
Let's say 25, unless it's like,
I would agree. I mean, odds are, most of the things we're gonna have to make some quick decisions on, we're gonna be lower than that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else?
For discussion, unless everybody else has anything for discussion.
Thank you guys for coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Presenting all that.
Thanks for giving us your.
A lot of info to get out there. That said, I'll take a motion to go to adjourn to closed session.
Thank you.